Welcome to Successful Interviewing, brought to you by Tufts Career Services. This presentation is approximately 16 minutes in length. On the left side of your screen, you will find options for maneuvering through this presentation. This workshop is divided into 3 sections. We'll first look at the basics of interviewing, including what to expect during an interview and the different kinds of interviews that you could encounter. Second, we'll look at preparing for an interview and how different forms of practice will contribute to a successful interview. Finally, we'll discuss interviewing essentials, such as how to dress, the role of technology, and what to do after an interview. What is an employer actually looking to gain during the course of an interview? And what should you be looking to gain? The interview is not just a test of your qualifications for the position at hand. It is also a time for you to see if the employer lives up to your expectations. It is to the interviewer's advantage to get to know you and to assess your competencies and skills, as well as your personal attributes. You should come prepared with questions to ask the employer. The interview is the perfect opportunity for you to address concerns and ask questions that you could not answer through your pre-interview research. There are a number of qualities that all employers look for in a candidate. Employers will seek out this information through a variety of interview questions. Students often wonder what employers are really looking for, and this list represents the skills and attributes that employers from all industries are interested in. Of course, employers are also looking for skills that are directly related to the position. Once you are invited for an interview, you should find out what type of interview to expect. How long will it be? A screening interview, whether in person or on the phone, is usually short, about 15 to 30 minutes in length. Employers can accomplish many of these in a short period of time, and use this method to determine whom to invite to the first round of formal interviews. A first round interview can be 30 minutes to an hour and may be on campus, if you are using your campus recruiting program, on site at the company, or at a career fair. For engineers or science majors, this first interview could be a technical interview. After the first interview, the next step could be a series of interviews in one day, which may include an interview over lunch or a group interview, where you are placed on a team with other candidates. The employer observes how the team and its members solve a problem collaboratively. Teamwork and leadership are the characteristics being tested here. Less frequently, an interview will include a test. A test of your quantitative skills may include simple math. A test of your fit for the position may assess your personality. It is critical to find out in advance as much about the interview process as possible so that you can prepare yourself. A career counselor can help you to prepare, and it is easier if you know what type of interview to expect. You could be asked traditional resume-based questions. You may be asked behavioral questions, which help an employer understand how you behave in certain situations. You may also be given a case question. Case questions require you to interact with the interviewer in analyzing a tough business question. Technical questions assess your knowledge and skill in a certain field. The kinds of questions that are asked in an interview will change according to who is interviewing you. Don't expect that the screening interview or the first formal interview will be the easiest. sometimes these are the most challenging. You can find a list of interview questions in the Career Services Interviewing Packet. One of the most popular interview questions is "Tell me about yourself." You should prepare a short script in answer to this question. Your script will change with each interview because it should be catered to the position and the organization. Furthermore, your answer needs to be interesting and memorable. Do not simply reiterate what is on your resume. When asked this question, you are given the golden opportunity to convince the employer to hire you. Other questions that you can expect in an interview are: what did you enjoy most or least about your last job or internship? Why do you want to work for us? Why should we hire you? Interview questions can catch you off guard. They can be tricky, unexpected, and even stressful. When asked about a weakness or a negative experience, it is best to know how to respond in a positive way. Remember to include how you have worked to overcome your weakness, or how you learned from a failure and what you would do differently next time. Never choose a weakness or a failure that is directly related to the position. If you meet with a career counselor to practice interviewing, you will learn how to address some of the unexpected questions listed here. It's a good idea to know the difference between a good answer and a bad answer. Your answers should provide academic or professional examples as evidence of your qualifications for the job. Personal stories may not be appropriate or relevant in an interview. What qualifications do you have that will make you successful for a job in sales and marketing? A bad answer is, I am a good student who does well in just about every course. While a good answer is, last summer I had an internship with the Boston Lyric Opera in the box office and sales division. I managed 5 volunteers who were responsible for signing up new ticket holders. I trained them on a telemarketing script that I had written. Altogether, in 3 months, we acquired 200 new season ticket holders. My strengths in managing people, putting together a sales script, and managing a timeline contributed to our successful summer. That's why I'm a good fit for sales and marketing. When answering, always remember to be specific, be enthusiastic, and relate your answer back to the job. Behavioral questions usually begin with, "Tell me about a time," or "Describe a situation." By asking you about a past experience and how you acted in that situation, an employer will be able to predict how you might behave in a future situation in his or her organization. You should use the STAR method in answering. Describe the situation by giving background and context for your story. Identify the task you set out to accomplish. Describe your personal actions and contributions. Finally, describe how the event, project, or situation unfolded. Behavioral questions should be answered with a story, so your answer should be descriptive and maybe a bit longer than your other answers. Tell me about a time when you had to take a risk. Here's an example of a good answer using the STAR method. Situation. When I came to Tufts, I knew I wanted to go abroad. Part of my plan as a psychology major was to take advanced topics in clinical psychology, which is only offered during the spring semester and only open to juniors and seniors. I would be abroad during the spring of my junior year and did not prefer to wait to take it my senior year. Task. I decided to enroll for sophomore year. This was a risk. Action. I spoke with the professor and described why I wanted to take the course and how it would fit in with my career goals. I also emailed him a paper I had written for another psychology class and for which I had received an A. And finally, result. He agreed to let me in the class. It was one of the most interesting and most difficult classes I have ever taken. I passed with an A-. An example of a bad answer is, I take a risk every time I walk out the door. Case questions require you to interact with the interviewer in analyzing a tough business question. These may be asked in consulting interviews. A couple of examples are shown here. Case interviews require time-intensive preparation and practice. See a career counselor if you anticipate having one. In a technical interview, or when asked technical questions, hiring managers will assume you have a general grasp of technical terminology in your field. You may be asked to describe a significant project in detail, including the objective and results. Your depth of knowledge will be further explored with questions such as these. What happens before the interview is just as critical as what happens during and after the interview. Preparation is key, and you will want to conduct research on the organization with which you are interviewing. That means looking beyond the company's website. Every candidate will do at least that much research. You should be aware of what is happening in the industry, and you can do this research using a variety of online resources available on the Career Services website and the Tisch Library website. A variety of excellent print resources are found in the Dowling Resource Library and at the Tisch Library. Use the Tufts Career Network, located on the Career Services website, to talk to over 6,000 alumni. Talking to people, or networking, is perhaps one of the best methods in researching a company. In addition to researching the company, you will want to spend a good deal of time reviewing your personal experience. Knowing yourself well, your interests, skills, and values will help you to articulate a match between yourself and the position as well as the company. During the interview, you may be asked if you have any questions. Prepare a list of questions before the interview. It is perfectly acceptable to have this list of questions with you. Use this opportunity to inquire about things you could not find out during your research of the company. Ask about the employer's future goals and plans. Ask about employee assessment and performance reviews. Here is a sampling of questions you could ask. Do not ask questions about salary or benefits during the first interview. Salary is a tricky area, and you really need to be prepared to answer strategically. You should try to plan for every controllable aspect of the interview. By practicing a variety of questions over and over again, you will avoid being surprised by a question for which you did not prepare. You should practice answering aloud and consider audio taping yourself. Ask a friend to role play with you and see what he or she thinks about your answers. Some students find it helpful to write out answers to questions and study them. Plan what you will wear. Try it on for a friend. Make sure it is pressed. A good rule for dressing for an interview is to dress polished and understated. In your research, find out from alumni at the company what would be most appropriate to wear to an interview. Carry only a few items with you, such as a portfolio and an umbrella. Don't appear disheveled by bringing your backpack or book bag. Know exactly where the interview is located, travel time, and where to park. Do a practice run. Be prepared for bad weather. Be aware of your nonverbal communication habits, such as using your hands and making eye contact. Remember to bring copies of your resume on resume paper and copies of your reference sheet. You will want to send thank you letters to each and every one of your interviewers, so remember to ask for business cards at the end of each interview. Email is acceptable. You should try to plan for every controllable aspect of the interview. By practicing a variety of questions over and over again, you will avoid being surprised by a question for which you did not prepare. You should practice answering aloud and consider audio taping yourself. Ask a friend to role play with you and see what he or she thinks about your answers. Some students find it helpful to write out answers to questions and study them. Plan what you will wear. Try it on for a friend. Make sure it is pressed. A good rule for dressing for an interview is to dress polished and understated. In your research, find out from alumni at the company what would be most appropriate to wear to an interview. Carry only a few items with you, such as a portfolio and an umbrella. Don't appear disheveled by bringing your backpack or book bag. Know exactly where the interview is located, travel time, and where to park. Do a practice run. Be prepared for bad weather. Be aware of your nonverbal communication habits, such as using your hands and making eye contact. Remember to bring copies of your resume on resume paper and copies of your reference sheet. You will want to send thank you letters to each and every one of your interviewers, so remember to ask for business cards at the end of each interview. Email is acceptable. Today's job search is mediated by the technology we use to find jobs and apply for them. Furthermore, business etiquette has been turned upside down by the use of technology. Here are some rules to remember. Never ever have your cell phone turned on during an interview. Turn off your BlackBerry, iPod, and any other device that could interfere with your interview. Know that an employer will Google you and search you on MySpace, Facebook, and other sites. Clean up your online profile. Your presence in the interview is not the only presence for which you are being judged. Ensure that all email communication is checked for spelling, punctuation, and grammar. This applies to networking emails, cover letters sent in email, and thank you letters sent by email. This interview workshop should not replace actual interview practice and preparation. We highly recommend that you set up an appointment with a career counselor to review interviewing techniques and to videotape a practice interview. Don't wait until you have an interview scheduled to set up a practice interview. You can find a list of interview questions in the Career Services Interviewing Packet located on our website and attached to this workshop. Click the Attachments button on the upper right corner of your screen to access the packet.